Welcome to another episode of Whitetail Rendezvous, coming to you 6 days a week as we interview whitetail experts and hear their traditions and personal stories of the hunt. Learn more about the latest gear, discover proven tips, and the latest strategies so you can make your next hunt a success. Now, here's your host, Bruce Hutchin.
Whitetail Rendezvous is pleased to announce a partnership with GoHunt.com. Who's GoHunt.com? Well, if you're a DIY hunter, you need the information at GoHunt.com/insider. Why? Because it provides 4,200 profiles, every unit, every species, and every season. Furthermore, they give in-depth analysis, interactive maps, unit access, and seasonal trends. Draw odds are very important, and they give you the most accurate information in the business. All this is available when you go to GoHunt.com/insider. Make sure you use promo code WR when you join Insider. You'll get a $50 gift card for GoHunt.com Gear Shop. Remember, when you become a member of GoHunt.com/insider, you're going to get a $50 gift card to Go Hunt Gear Shop. What's in the gear shop? The best gear that you can buy for hunting the West. All in all, if you're hunting out West in 2018, GoHunt.com/insider is where you need to be to get all the research information. When you use promo code WR, Whitetail Rendezvous receives a small commission from GoHunt.com. Hey, folks, we got a new sponsor. It's called Buckwild Coffee. What's so special about Buckwild Coffee? Well, a gazillion people go to Starbucks every day and drink coffee. Well, why shouldn't Buckwild Coffee offer you light, medium, or dark roast with free shipping? All you have to do is go to whitetailrendezvous.com, go to shop, and order your coffee, and I'll ship it out for free. Hey, thanks so much for visiting Buckwild Coffee. The best brew in the West, best brew around the campfire, the best brew in the hunting shack, the best brew anywhere. Buckwild Coffee. Get yours today. Welcome to another episode of Whitetail Rendezvous, and it's a joy to head north of the border and to go up to the Prophet Muskwa area with Nathan Olmstead. Nathan and his family have owned that concession up there for, I believe, over 30 years, and it's a place that if you want to get wild, if you want to get wilderness, if you want to get dropped off and get picked up, it's someplace you ought to check out. Nathan, welcome to the show.
Thank you, sir. How you doing?
I'm doing fine, and let's give a little backstory on the whole outfit up there, and tell people, about your mom and dad and how they get the concessions. And the stories I love is how you cut in those not the base camps, but your spike camps. And it's just amazing what you guys have to do, to do that. People don't understand how much work it takes, to manage the size of the land, the concessions that you have.
You bet. Yeah, we're originally from the States. My dad was born in Iowa, and my mom was born in California. My dad was always a huge hunter. He got into the life insurance and estate planning back in the 70s and 80s. And from there, he, made him some money and go hunting. He went hunting up in British Columbia for a moose. And he thought to himself, I could do this. And so from there, we bought our first concession in Yukon back in 1984. And from then on, my dad was, full-time outfitter and full-time life insurance and estate planning all the way through. And we had areas, throughout the U.S. as well, and Idaho and Montana. And it just ended up not being what my dad thought was his idea of his business plan. So he did a lot of research and figured out exactly what he wanted and what areas that he thought were going to be the best. And that's when he found the Prophet. And that was in 1991. He found that and made the purchase in 92. And 92 was our first year of operating. And from then on, that was where my brother and I, that was home for us. And where we learned how to, started off wrangling when I was 10 years old. My brother was 13, and we would take, 15 horses and go 7, 8, 10 hours from one camp to the next and spend the night and bring a couple horses back, or go out with the guys and learn how to, sheep hunt, moose hunt, call elk, pack horses, do everything. And then we kind of diversified, went to Yukon once more and got a white sheep area. Then my dad's ultimate goal was to have a outfit that you can do the Grand Slam all within one company, all within one person. You can come book your hunts, make your plans, do it all within one place. And in, I guess, about 4 years ago, we finally got that. We have our 2 areas in BC. We have 2 areas in the Yukon. We have tags in Alberta for Rocky Mountain Bighorn, and then we have tags in Texas as well for desert sheep. And that's really been what my dad, his whole plan was. And we have a lot of areas that we have tremendous animals in. We could harvest, like in the Yukon, like we could take 25 to 30 sheep a year, but we don't. We only take between 12 and 15, maybe 16 sheep a year, just to keep our quality up and our success rate. The thing is, if you have the animals, you're going to have happy clients. And if you have tremendous animals, you're going to have the happiest clients out there that are going to do nothing but help you in marketing. And it's really proven to be the best thing over the last 30 years, 33 years that we've been in business. And with my brother, he runs our BC areas, he's our commercial pilot. He's the outfitter there, and he's also the president of Guide Outfitters Association of British Columbia now. So he's working really closely with the British Columbia government and, trying to figure out this grizzly bear problem we have right now since they shut that all down. And he's doing really good there. He's fantastic in the business aspect of everything, and an amazing pilot. And I work up in the Yukon. I run our 2 areas up there, and I go back and forth from the Yukon to BC to Alberta, then down to Texas, and do desert sheep down there with some of our friends from Texas. And Mom and Dad, they're still very involved, and Mom's slowed down a little bit. She's liking being a grandma, and she has 11 grandbabies now, and she's having a blast doing that. And I think Dad, he'll be involved until the end. He's a guy that he can't sit still. He's got to be constantly doing something. That's kind of from start to where we are now, with a lot of things to fill in between.
And you guys have been really big conservationists. I know you've been a big supporter of FNA's, now Wild Sheep Foundation, and over the years you've been, you've stepped up right with those folks. So I know the outfit is, their eyes are always towards, making things better, and we do have a problem, or BC does have a problem with the grizzly bears, because when I was up there a number of years ago, there were grizzly bears, and there were more grizzly bears than I really wanted to see.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, we've been involved with. I think I grew up at Wild Sheep Foundation and Safari Club International, and that's huge part of our lives. That's where we go to do all of our marketing, and we've all been life members at Wild Sheep since those FNA's for 20-something years, and life members of Dallas Safari Club and Safari Club International. And I think over the last 30 years of being at SCI, on average, we've donated between $25,000 and $35,000 a year towards conservation through Safari Club. So we've definitely done our part, and we'll continue. And it's you have to be vocal. You have to get into those organizations that are doing right for not only North America, but the rest of the world, where we need a lot of help in continents like Africa, where the poaching is just unbelievably horrible right now. So it doesn't bother us one bit when we spend our North American dollars, and it goes over to Africa to help our friends and fellow outfitters over there. It definitely helps everybody out.
And just to tag on that, everybody's got a dream trip, but you can get involved locally. I know with Wild Sheep Foundation, Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation, your local SCI chapter, and just get involved with those because you'll meet people and you'll hear some stories, and then you realize it can become a reality. But more important, you're helping the cause before you even go on your first hunt, and that's something when you're sitting around campfires and talking. You talk about the day and you talk about this, but you talk about the future of hunting. You talk about conservation, and hunters are the largest conservationists in the world, and millions, if not billions, of dollars have gone towards conservation because of hunters. So thanks for every single one of you listeners that are hunting. But just go to a sheep deal or an elk deal or a safari club, banquet. Just have a good time, meet some folks.
Absolutely, it's the best place to get in there and meet people that are like you. Um, Even the Friends of the NRA, their dinners are very well put together, and from there it opens doors to not only locally, because I've been to chapter banquets and small towns in southern Oklahoma to Pennsylvania and everywhere, and it's the local guys that open the doors to everybody throughout the world, and it does a big thing. And even if you're not a international hunter or you only hunt in your home state, your money can help out anybody across the world. It's amazing how the organizations all work together. It really is.
Well, thanks for that. And, just to put a period on that, we're going to move along. Get involved, folks. It's as simple as that. Um, let's talk about, in the warm up, we talked about the number one thing you want your hunters to bring is.
I would say the number one thing is mental preparation and the rifle or a bow that you shoot the best. We have all of our clients every year. They'll call me or talk to me and my dad and my brother at the shows, and they always ask me, what can I do? And, what can I do to get into shape? You can go out and jog, you can do stuff, but you're not going to be in the shape you're really wanting to be in. 2 days after you get to the camp and you start going, and you'll get into shape real quick. But if you're not mentally prepared and you're not with your rifle or your bow or whatever you're hunting with, you have to be the most comfortable with that. That's the biggest thing, if you ask me, for sure.
And why it says that, because when you land at Whitehorse or Fort Nelson or wherever you land, and then all of a sudden you get into another plane or truck or whatever and start going through this country, it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And you go, where are the animals? Well, the guys will get you on the animals, but it's just daunting. I remember my first trip to Alaska, they dropped us off and it was like, I'm alone. It's all on me. And,
Absolutely.
DIY hunt. And, we were on a river rafting. So, the raft would get to the end. But,
well,
go ahead.
It is. I mean, it's a big deal. I mean, we have guys from all over the U.S. and they like you said, find a Whitehorse or Fort Nelson, and from there, my brother will pick you up in Fort Nelson and fly to the mountains, and from there you'll meet your guide, and then you'll get on a horse and you'll ride another 6 to 7 hours to another spike camp, and it's being mentally prepared to face the weather, to face if you get sick or you get hurt somehow, if you twist your ankle, and not just giving up. And that's the thing, is we've had a lot of clients that are physically fit and they're in great shape, and they're not mentally prepared because they get there and they twist their ankle and they just completely break down. Oh, I'm done. I got to leave. Well, no, just hang out. Rest your foot for a day or so. You're going to be fine. And once people get into the mountains, they realize how much work it is to get in there. I mean, every bit of food is flown in. Every oat for the horses that we feed. We feed over 80,000 pounds of oat in BC alone for our horses. All of that's flown in, all the gas for the generators. And so once someone gets there and they kind of take it back and they're looking at it and they understand the significance of being in the mountains. And I think once they're mentally prepared before they get there, they really understand how nice it is, instead of showing up, not knowing exactly what's going to happen and worrying about things. And then that's when everything kind of goes downhill.
The other thing I would just add is mental toughness. Know your weapon in the dark, in the cold, in the fog, in the rain. You know exactly what that weapon's going to do. And the other thing is boots. Talk about boots for a little bit.
Absolutely. Boots, and there's so many boots out there now. I'm partial to a couple different brands, but the biggest thing is if you're going to be doing a mountain hunt, you want to have a boot that has a good stitched sole. You do not want to have a boot that has a glued sole. And waterproof and comfortable. There's a lot of boots out there that have to be broken in, and if those are the boots you get and you're going to be wearing those boots, you want to make sure you break them in good before you get in the mountains, because there's nothing worse than having sore feet or blisters on your feet, and you want to have good waterproof. Gore-Tex is by far some of the best stuff out there for your boots. So a good pair of boots that are Gore-Tex and breathable, because if you have a boot that you're wearing every day and it doesn't breathe and you don't change your socks every day, your feet will get really, really hurting quick. They'll get that swamp foot in there, and you're right. Boots are probably one of the highest priority pieces of equipment out there besides your weapon. That's for sure.
Now, how to break in? What are your two brands? You mentioned 2 or 3 brands that you were partial to.
I've worn Mindels for numerous years. Probably for the last 10 years, I've been wearing Mindels, and they're a boot that you can just put on your foot and go. And they last good. They have a good vibrant sole on them. They keep your feet dry. They're comfortable, and you don't really have to break them in. This last year, this is the first year I'll be wearing them, but QU, they sent me a new pair of their Scarpas, and so far they seem like they're going to be great boots. They're super lightweight. They're more of they're not insulated, so it's an early season boot, but they're a little bit stiffer, so you want to put them on your feet, and even if you don't live in the mountains, just wear them walking so you know where your hot spots are, and you can adjust accordingly. If you need to put a different insole in, if you need to, wear a different thickness of sock, there's so many different ways to feel if your foot's going to get a hot spot, and a hot spot's where, it's just rubbing on one spot and it's going to turn into a blister. And I've done it. I'm even around town. People might look at you like you're crazy, but put your new hunting boots on and wear them around town for a day or two if you can't get out and into the mountains or out into on a ranch or anything, and it'll really help you out. You'll feel where you're gonna have to adjust your socks. A lot of guys like to wear big wool socks. I like straight cotton socks. And the insoles are great that come in them, but there's nothing like I put oh man, what kind of insoles do I use? Going blank here. It's a shoe company. I'll think of it in a minute, but it's an insole, and you take your factory insole out and you put it in. You can just go buy them at the store, and they have different arches, sizes, and the insoles are just a really, really big thing for having shoes that that'll make your life so much softer throughout the whole thing. I'll think of what insoles they are as soon as I do. I'll let you know.
Yeah, just
I'm
yeah,
totally
when
blank there.
when it pops in, just let it know. But folks, even coming to the Rockies, you can hunt early season elk, archery hunt. You can hunt them in tennis shoes if you literally can, and
Absolutely.
and that's actually not a bad way to do it. Your feet better be tough. But having said that, I tell people just wherever you're gonna wear it, it's just like your rifle. You're so comfortable. You slip them in, and you're gone. You don't have to think about it because if you lose your feet, you're done. Your hunt is completely done. You can break an arm, you can break a wrist, you can break a finger, you can get a knock in the head. A lot of things can happen, and you can still hunt. You still can get out there. But if you're not mobile, and only can ride the horse and then, crawl 100 yards, man, it's tough.
You bet. Actually, that's funny that we had a friend of mine. He was a cameraman for Outdoor Channel, and we've become pretty good friends over the last 10 years. And he was in the mountains with me, and he broke his wrist. Like within the first 15 minutes, he didn't know it was broken. He thought it was just sprained. He jumped on one of the young horses and got fucked off. He was in the mountains with me for over 10 days. I think it was 10 or 12 days with a broken wrist that they actually had to do a bone graft to fix. But I mean, he was in there. He pulled through it, and he had good boots on, so he could stay in there. And the insoles are New Balance, are the insoles I use.
All right.
Just popped in.
So those are two. Those are critical things: mental, know your weapon, and then let's talk about length of shots. Rifle shots. What are you guys comfortable with? Everybody can shoot 1,000 yards. I understand that. That's that's a whatever. I'm being silly, but
no. Honestly, like 250 yards, even for me, like 300 yards, that's a long way. If you're shooting sheep and everything, they're small. They're like the size of a decent sized whitetail. They're heavy because they're stocky. They weigh about 250 to 300 pounds as a big ram. And our elk and everything, our average elk shot's under 100 yards. Our moose shots are usually within 50 to 100 yards. And our sheep hunting, we really don't like to shoot much over 300 yards just because you have that factor of wounding that animal. And the farther out there you get, the more wind drift you're going to get, and it's going to make a big difference. And that's when it comes into ammunition and everything else. And there's certain bullets that I absolutely love, and there's bullets that I've had in the past that don't perform like you want them to when you're hunting, but they do a fantastic job when you're shooting at a gong at 500 yards or 1,000 yards. But our average shot overall is between 200 and 250 yards on all of our animals.
And listen to this. This is 30, 40 years of experience in the mountains. It's fun to go down the NRA range and shoot 500 yards or even 1,000 yards and to hear it go off. But in reality, there's too many variables when you're shooting cross canyon, cross basin. A lot of stuff, a lot of stuff can happen to that bullet before it gets there. And you're on a trip of a lifetime, and you want one and done. And with mountain goats, you might take more than one shot to anchor them. I'll give you that. But sheep are thin skinned, right? And so if you put the bullet in the right place, they're going to die pretty quick, right?
Absolutely. And that's something that everybody's got to take into account. A lot of these, I love all the guys that build long range guns. I'm friends with a lot of them. Like Gunworks and all the different gun companies. And a lot of the guys that buy the guns, they go to the range and they'll shoot that bullet that's a perfect long range ballistic bullet for shooting on target. But once you get into the mountains, like you're saying, they're shooting across the valleys or anything like that. Sheep are very thin skinned. You shoot a sheep in the foot, it might run a mile, but you're going to find that ram. You're going to get back on it. They're pretty weak animals when it comes to being injured. But there's no reason to take that chance. I mean, get something that's going to perform like you want it to, and up where we are, I mean, there's been certain instances that I've had to have guys shoot at 500 yards. But really, even those guys, I could have said, okay, you know what? Let's take a deep breath. Let's lay here for a minute. We're going to be able to get in with another 150, 200 yards, and then you're not going to have to worry about your shot. You're going to be within that range that you're comfortable shooting. And that's the biggest thing I say is you can just take your time, and there's no reason to take a shot that you're not comfortable at. There's always a way to make a good shot and get in and close that distance for sure.
Many of the articles that I read getting into being a hunter, it said shoot the gun that you're most comfortable with, no matter what caliber. What's your thought on that?
I completely agree with that. We have a lot of guys that come in. They're going to shoot a moose, so they're thinking they have to bring a 338 or a really big bullet. But all that's going to do is, if you're not used to it, it's going to make you flinch, and you're going to be scared of your gun. I know guys that they've shot a 280, and they've shot everything. It's all bullet placement, and once again, you're getting into those closer ranges where you don't have to really worry about your bullet size. If you have a 160 grain bullet, you can shoot a moose, you can shoot a grizzly bear, you can shoot anything as long as you have good bullet placement. And I think if you're shooting a gun that you've shot for 30 years and you're comfortable with it, that's the gun you need to come and shoot for sure.
I hope listeners, I hope you're taking this to heart, because that's the deal. Because you might only have a couple of shots in your 10-day hunt. I mean, that's reality.
Absolutely.
That's just reality. And so, when crunch time comes, it's just, you go into the old habit that you shot your, 100th buck or 50th whitetail buck off your back 40, and you raise your gun, you put it up, and you squeeze the trigger, and the bullet goes exactly where you want it to go. And that's the best advice I can give on it. From my years, and Nathan's seen hundreds and hundreds of big game animals shot, and he and I are kind of saying the same thing, and I'm underscoring that because so many people get all wound up, and they've got to have X caliber, and they don't really need it.
Absolutely. And one of the best calibers out there, any 30 cal round is going to do damage, and I couldn't agree with you more. Shoot what you're comfortable with.
So if somebody wants to come up to you guys and hunt those big whitetails, let's talk about that a little bit, since this is Whitetail Rendezvous. Do you have any whitetails on your concessions?
You bet. In Alberta, actually, we have some really good whitetails. We have about 35 whitetail tags in Alberta, and we've shot. The average buck you're going to shoot there is going to be a really nice 160 to 170 class buck. We've shot 210s. Those big northerners that they just have. To me, they're just neat. They have those great big bodies on them, and the mass that those deer have are just unbelievable. But that's our place we hunt the whitetails is just straight west of Edmonton, Alberta. So you fly into Edmonton, you stay with our partner Scott Carter. He's a amazing guy. He's a great hunter. He does all the Rocky Mountain Bighorns and whitetail hunts there in Alberta with us. And you stay at his ranch. He's got a really nice cabin, and you go out, and you're not sitting in a stand unless you really want to. In that part of the world, Scott knows a lot of the big hay farmers. And what you do is you go and it's all spot and stock. You find a big buck. He's got a couple of food plots out there, and we have a lot of game cams. So you see where the deer are moving around. You're hunting right during the rut in that November season, and you find some big bucks and go and put a good stock on them. And it's a lot of fun. I think we're going to do a couple of those hunts this fall. Personally, I'm going to go up and get a couple of our friends and see what we can find, because we haven't really pushed it the last few years. So it'd be interesting to see what we find.
So it's not a bush hunt; it's an agricultural hunt rather than a bush hunt.
Absolutely. For those big whitetails in BC, we have some big whitetails in BC too in our bush hunts. In the mountains there. The problem is it's a later season, and so the later you go in the mountains, the more weather you're going to get. But we did shoot a whitetail out of there, a few years ago, and it was a nice buck, 180 something. And the mule deer in there are really impressive too. We shot 232 mule deer out of the mountains a while back.
Oh.
Yeah, and just monsters. But the thing is there's a lot of bears, there's a lot of wolves. So when you're in the mountains, there's a lot of deer, but there's not as many deer as you'd want to just go and strictly pursue whitetails or mule deers in the mountains, just because of the predators. But the agriculture hunt's amazing. There's some big deer there.
And that's one thing I found out early in the game hunting whitetails in Canada is, you're going to see a lot of deer. And I remember the first hunt I went on, they said you're going to see some of the largest bodied deer ever, and it makes the horns look really small. It's huge deer, and the horns just kind of shrink. So you got to be really careful, because it'll be, we're talking 300-pound, on the hoof, and then the neck's swollen, and so they're just, colossal deer.
You bet.
And it's kind of tricky, and I just lay that out for the listeners that listen to your guide and figure it out, because you could end up shooting a very nice deer and you go, oh, I thought it was I thought it was bigger.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's amazing, especially from being down in Texas for the last few years and hunting some whitetails down here. I shot a phenomenal deer for the place I was hunting. Free range is 168-inch buck, and he honestly looked like a 300-inch deer when he stepped out, because that was my first time hunting a southern whitetail, and so the body size on him was just completely not what I was used to. And then you see a buck up north at a 180-inch whitetail, and he looks like a 140-inch whitetail. Sometimes it's amazing how the difference in that body size is. Sure, a lot of fun to hunt though. Love it.
Oh yeah, heck yeah. So let's give yourself a commercial break. How do people get a hold of Olmstead hunting?
We can go. There's a website. It's olmsteadhunting.com or profitmuskwa.com. And then you can also give us a call anytime. 250-789-9494 is the office, or my cell phone. It's area code 559-907-5233.
And, let's talk about, the cost of if a guy is dreaming of coming up and shooting a moose, a Canadian or an Alaskan Yukon, or mountain goat, caribou, realistically, what are they looking at all in, travel and
you bet,
guide fees and the whole, leaving home and
so
getting home.
If you're looking at like a Yukon moose hunt, by the time you're done paying for the hunt, your air charter, your commercial airline up there, if you fly up there, everything in, you're probably looking at close to $40,000 for a Yukon moose. Our price is it's $24,500 for a 7-day hunt. Plus you have your license and tags and your air charter in and out of the mountains and your charter to get back up. So cost to us, you're looking at about $30,000 with your air charter to the air charter company. And then depending on where you're flying from and everything, you can usually get a decent price flight, for around $600 to $1,200. And then you have a couple hotel rooms, nights. Then our Canadian moose, they're quite a bit cheaper. They're in the about $16,000 range. Then they have your license and tags on top of that. And then, our whitetail hunts go for $6,500, and that is where you have about $6,800 into your hunt plus your flights to get up to the mountains, just because the way we do everything there. The mountain hunts definitely add a lot of money on, just because of how much we have to fly, and that's the only way you can get in there. And it's all our Yukon moose hunts. We do horseback and riverboat hunts, and then in BC everything's horseback.
How about goat hunts? What are they running these days?
Goat hunts are $11,300 for a 7-day, or $13,300 for a 10-day. And then by the time you get done with the goat hunt, for a 10-day hunt, you're looking at about $15,000 all in.
Now, if I'm up there moose hunting, caribou hunting, goat hunting, and I want to have other tags such as wolverine, wolf,
Absolutely,
black bear, how much does that add on to the bill?
So what it is everybody has wolf tags. Anybody that comes up with us, no matter what, they have wolf tags, and those are included. Your wolverine, you have a tag for it. I'm not sure how much that is, but if you shoot a wolverine, there's no trophy fee on it, just the government harvest fee, which is, I think it's like $200. But say you're hunting a moose and you see a goat and you have a goat tag, and that's one thing that I really push for everybody. If you have an inkling that you might want to shoot another species, always get that tag, because if you decide you want it while you're in the mountains, it's going to be another $2,000 on top of the tag to have it flown in, because you have to have it on your person. But say you're on a moose hunt and you want to shoot a goat and you have that tag, the harvest fee is $5,250, and that includes all your meat horns and cape flights and everything in and out of the mountains for a second species.
So really, you think about it, folks, and probably where you're hunting the Alaskan Yukon moose, you can see the mountain goats. They're pretty easy to see, right?
Oh yes, sir. Yeah, everything's in the same area. I mean, when you're hunting sheep, you see moose. When you're hunting moose, you see elk. When you're hunting goats, you see caribou. Everything's all in the same area.
So for getting up there, instead of waiting 10 years to come back and hunt a goat, it's just, it's a hit. I realize that, because it's hunting isn't inexpensive, but you're there. So think about that really, really seriously. If you are going to take a trip in a lifetime, it's sure well worth it, because all of a sudden you're, 100 yards from a gorgeous billy and you go, oh.
Absolutely. It's in the long run of things, it's actually fairly cheap, because you're already there. You've already paid for your commercial flights. You're already in the mountains. Instead of having to come back, take off all the time from work, it definitely makes more sense to do it that way, if you can.
Now, accommodations, base camp, is just like any lodge you'd head. What happens when we get into spike camp?
Yeah, in BC, our base camp is unlike any other place. Honestly, it's a probably the nicest lodge that you can't drive to. It has a full service spa. We usually have 1 or 2 chefs that cook at the lodge. Amazing place. It's beautiful. It's kind of our second home, so it's a very nice place. But our spike camps in BC are very nice as well. They're all nice cabin camps, either log cabins that we've built from the trees surrounding the camp, or plywood cabins. Very nice, very comfortable, dry, have nice airtight stoves, keeps you warm, keeps everything dried out if you get wet. Most camps have a cook in our remote base camps, and then our spike camps could be you and your guide and maybe a wrangler. And in BC, we eat really good food. We have all home cooked meals. You're not eating Mountain House. And the Yukon's a little different. Yukon, you're in a tent a lot more. We do have base camps that have cabin camps, but 80% of the time you're going to be in a tent moving around. Up there we do use Mountain House a little bit, but we also use, have home cooked meals, steaks and eggs and pancakes and bacon in the morning and chicken and pork chops, everything, for the evening. Typical lunch on the mountain, you're going to have sandwich and apple and orange and, some chocolate bars for energy. But it's very, very comfortable, even though you're out biking out in a tent. We use really nice tents. And up there, the cabins are primarily plywood cabins when you're at the base camp. So it's still comfortable. It's nice. And it's in a part of the world where you can step out your door and there can be a moose licking on your horse's saddle first thing in the morning. So there's an adventure around every corner, that's for sure.
Yeah, when you said looking out the door, you'd step on the steps, or if they got a porch or something, you just look out there and you go, I know the times I've been fortunate, blessed to be up in that country, and it's just like, oh my goodness, because it takes your breath away, even at as the sun rises, it just takes it away, and those are the memories that I really hold. Yeah, I've been fortunate to take some critters, but it's just those sunrises and sunsets, and even catching grayling or whatever. It's all part of it.
I agree, and that's the biggest thing I say is bring a good camera, because harvesting your animals one thing, but being in the mountains like that, there's nothing like it. I still get goosebumps when I wake up in the morning and unzip my tent when I'm on a sheep hunt. And I've been doing it for 20 something years, and it still gets me when you open that door and you're like, this is unbelievable what God created here. Beautiful places.
Yes, sir. It beats. A lot of people say, "Oh, I want to be on the Sportsman Channel, Outdoor Channel." Well, you go on one of those hunts, folks. You are. You'll never have to. You are.
Yes, sir. I agree with that.
Oh man. Well, Nathan, this has just been a joy, and brings back a lot of great memories, and great adventures that I've been fortunate to have, and I just continuing success to you guys up there, and again, let people know how to get a hold of you guys.
You bet. Thank you so much for having me on here. It's been a great time. It's been great talking to you. But yeah, our website is profitmuskwa.com. That's PROPHET, M as in Mike, USKWA.com. And then, of course, my phone number is area code 559-907-5233 is my U.S. cell phone, or the office is 250-789-9494. And I want to thank you again. It's been a blast talking to you. And if you ever have any questions, please give me a call or find me on Instagram at Nathan P. Olmstead, and be happy to answer any questions.
All right, folks, that's going to be a wrap. And, think about it, because you can do it. And, Nathan and I were talking, I don't know if I put this on this show or the warm up, but you start working, you're 20 years old, you can go on 4 quality hunts of a lifetime in your lifetime. If you maybe don't buy that new Power Stroke, or just do. Well, it's pretty simple though. I mean, it really
Absolutely.
is.
Absolutely.
10 years.
Go ahead. We also do. We've done a lot of stuff. We've had a lot of clients that do anything. I mean, absolutely anything from people that are in charge of countries to just your normal guy. And we are here for everybody. We've done a lot of different ways to help people pay for things. Like I said, my dad's a financial advisor. He can give you a lot of different hints on it if you want to figure out a way to save up for not just a hunt, for anything. I mean, there's a lot of different things. But if you put your mind to it, you can do it. That's for sure.
Yeah, and I would certainly agree to that. So with that, we're going to sign off, and on behalf of thousands of people, listeners across North America, Nathan Olmstead, thank you for just being. This is a great conversation and a great visit. And travel safe.
Thank you, sir. You too. Have a good one.
Thanks for joining us. Be sure to tune in tomorrow for another episode of Whitetail Rendezvous, where you can listen and learn from the experts so you can be more successful on your next hunt. Until next time, listen, learn, and succeed.